Hi everyone, I welcome all of you to my channel that is Learn AWS with Neeraj. And this is my first live class where I will be interacting with all of you and will be talking about the cloud computing technology, and we'll talk about a few more things. So, first of all, can someone please confirm if you can hear me and if you can see my screen properly? Okay, thanks Akhil for the confirmation. So, let's wait for a few minutes, let other people join, and then we will be starting with the today's live class. Okay, that's good. I think few people can hear me, and yeah, that's good. So I will be keep on checking my chats in the middle so that I can answer your questions. We'll try to make this session as interactive as possible so that you can also ask your question and I will try to answer that. At the same time, I will try to make this session very basic, very simple, from very ground level. I don't want to make it very complicated or very technical on those side, right? My purpose is that it should be clear to everyone because uh, you must have filled up some contact details on the Instagram, right? And there was option like, are you a student or are you a working professional or you are just done with your studies and just looking for IT job, right? So basically, in this live session, we have variety of people. We have few students. We have people having IT experience as well. We have also people who have just entered into IT world, but they do not have much working experience, but they are just, I can say, done with their studies. That's why I will try to make it as simple as possible so that it's clear to everyone. That's my ultimate purpose. So is that okay? Does it look good? Okay, I think we can get started now. So today is the first class. Today is the first live class. That's why I am keeping some slides. Otherwise, the way I teach, I don't use slides. I usually show everything practically directly on the software or directly on the website so that it gives more interest to the attendees. Because no one is interested to look at the slides and going through slide by slide, right? That's why I prefer the complete 100% practical training. But since today is the first class, and before we start with any practice, let's try to understand what is cloud computing. And definitely next class onwards, that is tomorrow onwards, will not go through any slides. We'll do everything on our AWS trial account. Okay. So let's start with introduction to cloud computing. If you are from IT background, I mean, you may be just pursuing your BTech with computer science with IT, or you may be doing BCA or MCA. If you are involved in either study or project or job where the technology is coming into the picture, right? Cloud computing is very hot topic nowadays, and not only nowadays. I would say from last few years, cloud computing is more, I can say, trending. I will explain like what is cloud computing and before cloud computing what was there, why the industry is migrating towards cloud computing. All those things we'll talk about. Okay. So first of all, let me introduce myself. So my name is Neeraj and I'm into IT industry for more than 15 years. And if I talk about my experience, that is mainly on from last 5 years, I'm working on cloud, or in cloud, there are many clouds, but majorly I'm working on AWS. And prior to that, you may be thinking that from last 5 years, I'm working on cloud, but prior to that, what I was doing? Prior to that, I was working on big data technology. If you have heard about it, if you have heard about Hadoop, HBase, Hive, Spark, Scala, those technology I was working upon. And I started my career with Java. So initial few years I worked on Java, then I switched to Hadoop and big data, and now from last 5 to 6 years I am into cloud. If I talk about my certification, I am AWS Certified Professional Solution Architect. That is one of the certification in AWS. If you are going with AWS training, you can start with data engineer, or we have another term like a cloud practitioner certification. Then you can go with data engineer, and finally, if you want, you can even go with solution architect certification. There are many more type of certification as per your project need. And prior to AWS, I was working on another cloud, that is Google Cloud. GCP stand for Google Cloud Platform. So when I was working on Google Cloud project, I have certified as a professional cloud architect as well. Okay, so this is all about my experience, and currently I'm working on AWS project only, and day to day base I'm doing a lot of things on AWS. That means during the training I can share my real project experience as well. That will help you to understand the concept in more practical way, because theoretical you can read on internet, you can watch YouTube videos, you can do many more things, but what actual scenario we face during the project, how to debug that, how to fix that, how to tune the performance and all these things I will be explaining during this class and also upcoming classes. Okay, so I'm stopping here for 1 minute. I will just have a quick look at the chat. Anyone is having any doubts till now? Okay, can someone please confirm me on the chat? Okay, so there's a question from Viswaram, and the question is experience needed to get a job in AWS? So I think little bit of experience, or at least not experience, then at least hands-on practice is required. But if you are going for an interview and if they're asking you any in-depth question, then from your answer it should reflect that you have some practical knowledge on that. If you are starting your career, definitely you may not have experience. I think that is still okay, but you should have knowledge about cloud. If you are going for an interview at this point of time and someone is asking what is cloud, what is AWS, and if you say you don't have any idea, that's not definitely not a good impression on the interviewer. So you don't have experience, that's absolutely okay, but you should have some idea, some practical exposure for cloud. Not only AWS, you may have on other cloud as well, like there is a Google Cloud, there is a Microsoft provided cloud as well, but you should have theoretical and little bit of hands-on experience on the cloud. I hope I answered that your question, Vishwaram. Okay, let's start the class with the agenda. So the agenda for today's live class is what is cloud computing, cloud service providers, cloud service model, benefit of cloud computing, limitations of cloud computing, and AWS trial account creation. We'll be talking about all these things. And as you can see, the last but not the least is AWS trial account creation. That means once our AWS trial account is ready, after that we'll not be going through slides. Rather, I will show everything on my trial account. Okay, so let's move towards next slide. The first one is, what is cloud computing? So instead of giving you like lot of jargons, lot of technical words, I would try to keep it very simple so that you can understand it easily. So cloud is a set of remote servers physically located somewhere on the earth. Usually when you work on any project, suppose I talk about 10 years back, that means you have a PC or you have your laptop, you will install some software over there, you will write your code and you will work on your project. That means you are working on your local system, on your local machine. But with the advancement of the technology, it's not mandatory nowadays that you work on your own laptop. Maybe the server is located somewhere else. The server may be located in Mumbai, or that may be in Australia, that may be in America. But it does not matter to you because you will get access to that server, and from the comfort of your own personal laptop, from comfort of your home or your office, you can work on that server. The server need not to be physically located at the same place where you are. That's the ultimate purpose of cloud. Access to servers and services are made available to you. Not only servers, it's not only about hardware. There are many services provided by cloud, and those services you can use. The services can be of any type. Maybe once I will open my trial account, I will show you what type of services are available. On demand self service. Self service means you can open your portal and you can choose like what exactly you want. For example, if you want to order pizza, what you will do is you will open the website, you will customize your order, right? You can choose like what sides you need, what pizza you need, which type of pizza, what type of size, what type of toppings, what type of desserts, what type of cold drink you need, right? You create your own order and then finally you place the order. Same way, on your cloud computing account, you can choose from self-service menu that I want this server with 8 GB of RAM, with 256 GB of hard drive, and this much of network capability, and this much of storage. You can choose everything. You can customize as per your need. And not only server, there are many more services. I will explain about the services as well. And you can choose those services. And the good part is auto scaling of hardware. Suppose today you opted for a server with 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of hard drive, and everything is working fine. But after 1 week, you notice that your project or your software, your application is not working as expected because of the limitation of the RAM or hard drive. In that case, you have the flexibility to upgrade your system. Your system is not with you, system is not located as the same place as you are, but wherever the system is, behind the scene, the cloud service provider will provide you another system with a higher configuration. Okay, now what is auto scaling? Auto scaling means sometime I may not be monitoring again and again that my RAM is going down, or my storage is also completely occupied. I don't want to go into that mode, right? I want that as and when the load is increasing, suppose I'm running a website, so and suddenly some load is increasing, so I want that behind the scene automatically the hardware capacity should increase. As a developer, I don't want to worry about it, so that's also there. Then cloud managed service. Cloud managed service means all the services, whether it's a server or it's a service, that is completely managed by the cloud. That means as a user, you don't have to worry about the, you can say, maintenance or security or upgrading, or suppose any hardware is failed, somehow unfortunately your system is crashed, that also you don't have to worry about. Okay, and the last is pay as you go. So I would take an example so that you will understand. Suppose you are planning a trip to Goa with your friends for 5 days. Just for 5 days, definitely you won't be buying a car over there. That does not make any sense, right? So ultimately, what you will do is you will take the car on rent as per your convenience, as per your budget, as per your requirement, right? You can go for a particular car and you can just pay only for 5 days. And the good part is during those 5 days, any maintenance issue, any breakdown, any issue, you don't have to worry about. The company, the renting company will take care of it. As in when suppose the car breakdowns, you inform them immediately, they will arrange another car for you and you are good to go. So that is not your concern, that's not your headache because you are paying rent for those 5 days. Same thing is with cloud. If I'm hiring a server for 1 week for 5 days, any maintenance issue, any upgrading, any breakdown, any you can say crashing of the system, that's not my concern. Cloud will take care of that. That's the good part of this. Okay, so this is about what is cloud computing. I hope it must have given you a very brief idea. If you have any doubt till this point, you can ask me, otherwise we'll be moving to the next slide. So as I said in the beginning that we'll try to make it as interactive as possible. Don't think that it's a silly question or it's a very small doubt. Don't think about it. If you have any small doubt, just paste it on the chat and I will try to answer that. Okay, so there's a question from, let me check, from Akhil. He's asking that can you provide certificate for this training class? Yeah, I can do that. I don't know whether you are looking for a certification or you are looking for the training provided by me, but yes, I can provide a certificate for attending this training. Okay, let's move to the next slide. The next is cloud service providers. So as I was telling that AWS is not only the one cloud service provider, there are many more cloud service provider. The one, the most important one, or I would say the one which is leading the market is AWS. The reason being is AWS started little early. AWS started like 15 or 20 years back. But other cloud service provider, that is Microsoft and Google, they started little late. They mainly started around 5 to 10 years back. That's why AWS is leading the market and it is much more ahead of Microsoft and Google. That's why if you find anyone, your friend, your colleague, your seniors who is working on any cloud project, the more chances are he or she is working on AWS. Okay, so these are major cloud service provider. If I talk about our training program is completely about AWS, but that does not mean that the concepts are different. I have worked on Google Cloud as well. I am certified Google Cloud data cloud architect. So what I want to say is that once you understand the concept of one cloud, suppose AWS, after that in case you get an opportunity to work on Microsoft Azure or you work on Google Cloud, it will not make much difference. Only the terminology are different. For example, I was talking about those remote server, right? Some server is located in America and we can access it from here. So that server, right? In AWS, we call it as EC2. EC2 means Elastic Compute Cloud. In Microsoft Azure, we call it as, I think, virtual machine. And in Google Cloud, we call that as compute engine. So basically, the term is different. Concept is same. Ultimately, that is virtual server located somewhere. They will provide the access for your uses. If you are using only 2 hours in a day, that means you have to pay only for those 2 hours, not more than that. So these are mainly three cloud service provider. Mainly three. There are many more cloud service provider which are not heavily used by the IT, but these are the major one. Okay. Before we proceed, we have few questions. Let me answer that. So Manohar is asking, by learning AWS from, can we attempt and clear AWS certification? Yes, absolutely we can do. And I was explaining about that there are different type of certification, like level wise. If you are starting, there is a cloud practitioner certification. If you clear that and if you gain a little bit more knowledge, you can go with data engineer. Once you are data engineer certified, after that the next you can plan for the solution architect, which is currently I hold that certification, that is AWS certified solution architect. Okay. Another question from Manohar is, he's asking that what are the major area in your training. So after this slide, I will open the course content, which we will be covering in next 1 week. So I will throw light like what exactly we will be exploring in this 1 week of training. So at least I will get you started so that you guys are comfortable on the concept and the main technologies. After that, you can explore as in more detail as per your project's requirement, because there are more than 100 services in AWS, and definitely no one can learn all those 100. It all depends upon the project requirement, but there are few basic services. That means irrespective of whichever project you will go with, definitely you should know all these services. Okay, so we'll be explaining. I will quickly show you all the course content as well. So there's another question from Ruturaj. What is the advantage of AWS over other cloud services? Yeah. So I think I already answered that. AWS is the major cloud service provider. That means it's already leading in the market. So feature wise and you can say billing wise and more is like ease of use, and more people are working on that, right? So if you're going with AWS, that means the project, there are chances that you will get more projects, and maybe your client is also working on AWS. That's also possible, right? So I'm not saying that Microsoft and Google Cloud are not good, but majority of the projects you will find on AWS. But in case you get opportunity to work on other cloud, slowly and gradually within like 1 month you will start understanding that okay, less or more it's same as AWS only. Okay. There's a request from Narendra. He's asking that can you please provide notes also? Yeah, I can do that. Maybe after the class, I will paste the URL from where you can download this PPT and you can use it. And along with the detailed course content, so that as per your convenience, you can go through the course content. Is that okay, Narendra? Okay. I think we are good. So we'll be moving to the next slide. So the next slide is cloud service model. When I say that we can take any service on rent, right? So what type of service we can take on rent? It depends upon our requirement. If you look at the bottom, this is IaaS. IaaS means infrastructure as a service. As the name indicates, right? From the name you can get to know that you can rent the infrastructure as and when you need it. I was talking about the server, right? Server you can take. Apart from server, there are like hard drives which you can take on rent. You can store your data. There are network services, network switches, routers, all these things also you can take on rent, and you are responsible like what application you are building, what project you are working upon, what type of code you are writing. That is completely your responsibility. The cloud will only provide you the infrastructure. Rest you have to take care. That's the bottom layer. On top of that, there is a platform as a service. That means cloud will provide you infrastructure as well as some tool to do your development. For example, suppose instead of writing the code on your personal, or suppose on that server, they along with the server, along with the hardware, they will install some software on that, so that you can use those softwares for writing your code, doing your development activities, doing your testing activities, and all that stuff. This means you are not only taking hardware on rent, Along with that, you are using some tool provided by the cloud, and they will be charging for it. So there are different plans. You can buy the plans as per your need, but you have to pay for hardware, the server. Along with that, you have to pay for the tool because you are opting for that. And finally, the top layer is software as a service. That means development is done, testing is done, the product itself is ready. For example, Google Drive. Google Drive is the end product. That means you won't be developing anything, you won't be doing any coding or any project work. That is the end product which you are using. So that means the hardware, wherever your Google Drive is located and however is configured, finally the end product is available for you. And not only Google Drive, I can take another example, Netflix. Netflix is the end service used by the end user who are, first of all, not the technical people, right? As for watching movies on Netflix, it's not mandatory that you are a technical person. You are the end user. That means you are using the hardware behind the scene. Somewhere there will be hardware, right? On which some Netflix server is or Netflix application is running, which is providing you the live streaming and you can watch the movies on that. Okay, so you don't need to worry or don't if you have any confusion among this. I will tell you that cloud service provider will give you a lot of flexibility, and accordingly you can choose. I will again compare with the Goa example, right? Suppose any renting company, they will ask you that, sir, do you need the driver also or do you just need the car? You will say, no, 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 we know the driving, we are four friends and we will drive ourselves, we just need the car. That means you are going with infrastructure as a service. You are taking only the car on the rent. But if you say that we don't know driving or we know little bit of driving, but we are not habitual of driving in a hill station and all those areas, so rather we will go with a professional driver as well. That means the renting company will charge you for the car as well as they will charge you for the driver also. Along with that, suppose you want few more service, like there are some activities happening and you want that driver should arrange those activities for you. That means you are going for some additional services as well, so they will be charging for that also. So it's completely up to you, it's completely customizable. If you say that driving the car and booking the activities you will take care by yourself, simply go with the car, just pay for the car rental. Same thing is here. Okay, I hope this is clear. I tried to make it simple so that everyone can understand it easily. Okay, any question till now, please let me know on the chat. So feel free to stop me. I mean, you don't need to wait for me to complete the slide. At any point of time, if any question is hitting your mind, simply paste on the chat. I have the chat open with me on my another laptop, and I am looking at the chat as well in the middle, so I will try to answer all of your questions. Okay, seems like there is no doubt. Manohar, could you please confirm if you are everything is okay? You can hear me and you can see the screen, right? Okay, let's move to the next slide. We'll talk about benefits of cloud computing. So I know, I hope you have a little bit idea what is cloud computing. Now let's try to understand, like, what are the benefits. As I was telling that industry is migrating from on premise to cloud. On premise means wherever your premises is. Suppose your office, right? Office building. So your entire infrastructure is within your office. That means on premise. But companies are migrating their infrastructure from on premise to the cloud. But why? There must be some benefits, right? Otherwise there is no point that people are opting for something. Okay, so the very first benefit is cost saving. No upfront cost for setting up the infrastructure. As I was giving the example of that Goa trip, right? Just for 5 days, you will not go to buy a car by paying 15 or 20 lakhs. Does not make any sense because you just need for 5 days. So, no upfront cost for setting up the infrastructure. Pay as per your uses. That means if you are using any server, suppose you got a small project or that is just a small POC, and it will be finished within 1 month. So only for that 1 month, if the company is buying hardware, that will add a lot of cost to the company, lot of maintenance cost, licensing cost. There are a lot of other stuff, right? And moreover, after 1 month, those hardware will not be useful. Suppose we are not getting the actual project. In that case, what we will do with those hardware? Rather, let's go with the cloud. We will take some servers on the rent for 1 month and we will complete our POC. After that, if we are getting the real project, we will again request for more server, 50 server, 100 server as per our need. Okay. And the good part is, if you are using the server only for 3 hours in a day, that means they will be charging only for 3 hours. That means if you are not using the server, make sure that you shut it down. If you are not shutting it down, and if it's running 24 by 7, that may be chargeable to you. That's why we always prefer that if you are not using any cloud service, please stop it, pause it, so that it's not charging to you. Okay. The next is scalability and flexibility. That means you can choose any configuration. It's completely up to you. If you say that I have a very small project, I don't even need 8 GB of RAM. I'm good with 1 GB of RAM. They can provide you the small server also. If you say that my compute compute requirement is less, that means I'm not doing any complex calculation. So 2 GB of RAM should be good. But the data I'm processing is very huge. That means I want storage of like 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte. They can provide you that type of server as well. Or vice versa. You are saying that my data is very limited, like 100 GB, but I'm working on a machine learning algorithm which is very complex and which needs a lot of compute power. That means you need very heavy CPU for that, and maybe like 64 or 128 GB of RAM. The point is, it is completely flexible. You start with a small server, and later on, as and when required, you can auto scale or you can request for a higher configuration server. For example, big billion day sale. When the Independence Day will hit after 2 weeks, then you can say Flipkart, Amazon, all these people will come up with some sale, right? Independence Day sale or New Year sale, something, something. And they are expecting that the traffic on their website will increase like anything, maybe 10 times, 20 times. Now, just for 1 day or just for 3 days of sale, if they are going with, suppose, buying the hardware, that's not a good idea. So what they will do is they will just request the cloud service provider that could you provide the higher configuration server just for 3 days, because these 3 days we are expecting a lot of traffic, right? So that can be done. The next is reliability. Reliability means you can completely trust the cloud service provider. Why? Because they maintains duplicate copy of your data. I was telling that one server is located in America, and on that server I have kept my data. Suppose unfortunately any natural calamity, any war, any, you can say, earthquake or anything, right? In that case, is there any possibility that I will lose my data? No, that's not the case. The reason being is the cloud, right? Whether it's AWS or any other cloud, they maintain the duplicate copy of data on different physical location. That means one copy of data is available on the America server, and another, the same copy of same data is available on another server which is located in Mumbai. So that unfortunately, if you are losing data from one physical geographical location by any means, at least your data is safe on another location, and that is completely taken care by cloud. That means it's not your headache, it's not your responsibility to choose like where to keep the data, how many copies the data. If one copy is lost, then how to retrieve the another copy. That is not your concern. Cloud will do everything for you. Behind the scene, you never know. You asked for some file, and they provided the file, you are not even aware whether this file was provided by the US server or it was provided by the Mumbai server. Because ultimately you requested for a file and you got the file. So you don't need to worry about how they are managing it. So they also support disaster recovery. That's what I was giving the example of. Disaster recovery means at any point of time, if your application is crashed, that means they will help you to recover it. And it will take within few seconds or within few minutes. And that's again configurable. If you say that my big billion day sale is very important, I don't want that my users are putting some products into uh, the bucket and they are not able to proceed or they are not able to make the payment. That's ultimately loss to the company, right? In that case, you can request the cloud that as soon as my one server is down by any reason, I want another server ready immediately within fraction of seconds, and I can pay money for it, right? That you can do. If you are not running very critical application, because if you are expecting the recovery within seconds, that means it will be highly chargeable. But if you say that my application is not that critical, I'm not running any e-commerce website, but yes, maximum 30 minutes I can wait. Within 30 minutes, I want my services up and running. So they will help you. Cloud will do it for you, but it will be less chargeable because you gave them time of 30 minutes. So it will be less chargeable. So different type of disaster recovery mechanism plans configurations are available as per our budget, as per our project's need. We can go for it. Okay. And finally, maintenance. If you are using any application and suppose some newer version of application has come in the market, it's not your responsibility. They will look into it. If there is any cyber attack, any virus attack on the server, it's their responsibility. So any security upgrade, any operating system upgrade, any application upgrade, or anything else, completely taken care by the company, by the cloud. It's not your concern. Okay. So these are the benefits of cloud computing. If you are having any doubt, and it's not always about doubt, if you would like to add something here, maybe that is useful for everyone. So you can even share that on the chat. Okay, so there is a question from Ruturaj, and he's asking what is meaning of PaaS. So in one of the slide, I was talking about PaaS, platform as a service. That means not only hardware, but you are renting one platform. On that platform, you can do your development activities. You can write your code, you can debug your code, you can test your code. All these things you can do. That means you are renting the platform. And the last, on the top, SaaS, that is software as a service. That means development and everything is done, the end product is ready, and that is hosted on the cloud. So end user can use it. Okay, so these are the benefits. Okay, so if there is no doubt, we can move to the next slide. Ruduraj, could you please confirm if that doubt is clear to you? Okay, let's talk about the next one, that is limitation of cloud computing. You know, in this world, there is nothing which does not have any limitation. Anything which comes with any benefit, definitely there can be some associated limitations, some challenges. So industry is moving towards the cloud, that's true, but at the same time there are few challenges, there are few limitations which we should look into, which we should always keep in mind, so that we can understand, we can take the best decision whether we should migrate to the cloud or not. That's very important thing. So the first one is completely dependent on internet. That's true. If I talk about my experience, suppose I talk about 5 to 10 years back, we were doing our development activity on our personal laptop. We were writing our code or anything, right? That means if internet is not there, if internet is down for 2 hours, it's okay. We won't be able to check the email, that's fine. But at least you can continue with your development activities. But at current scenario, when everything is on the cloud, suppose you are developing some code on the cloud and somehow internet is down, you can't do anything. So that's one of the limitation. And leakage of sensitive information, mainly with banking clients. Suppose there's a bank and they have their servers, their data, customer details, everything on their own premises. That means they have the full security of their data. The customer is happy that my personal detail, my bank balance, everything is safe with the bank. But now, with the enhancement of the technology, the bank is planning to migrate their projects, their applications on the cloud. That can be a challenge. That can be a, you can say, security risk, because somehow, because data is not with you, right? Never forget that data you are handing over your data to someone to take care. It's like you have a bag full of money and you are handing over that bag to your friend that, hey, I'm keeping this big bag with you, please take care of it. So it all depends how much of trust you have on your friend, but the money is not with you. Same thing is with the cloud. If you are migrating your applications, your projects, your data on the cloud, that means there are some security risks, very minor security risks, because these cloud service providers are very intelligent and they are providing a lot of security, multi-layer security. So they will try their best that data will not be, I mean, data will be completely protected. But at the same time, anyone, any bank, what I will tell you, I have worked on some banking projects as well. What banks are doing nowadays is they are migrating few applications which are not very customer critical. They're migrating those applications to the cloud. Suppose credit card history. So what they will do is they will remove the credit card number or the personal detail, but they will migrate other stuff to the cloud so that they can do some analytics. Nowadays, based upon your credit card usage, companies are creating some plans, creating some offers, and accordingly you will get the calls, right? So basically, banks can choose like what data they want to move to the cloud and what data they still want to keep on their local. They still want to keep it safe and secure under their guidance, under their surveillance. I mean, within their own boundary, within their own office boundary, right? So that's one challenge. Exchange info between on-premise and cloud. If you are not migrating completely 100%, that means few of your application are running on premise within your bank building and few applications you have migrated to the cloud. Now the challenge is how they will interact, because earlier all the applications were on the same network, but now half of the applications are on AWS network and remaining half are available on my local infrastructure. So I'm not saying that's not possible, that's definitely possible. And nowadays companies are providing the hybrid cloud. That means hybrid cloud, because whenever AWS cloud is approaching any client that you are having this application and we will provide you these services, you migrate your things to the cloud. The first challenge and first doubt they have is that what about my data security? Sometimes they will say that okay, I have total 10 application, these two applications are very very critical because they contains customer details, their contact details, their balance and everything, right? So in that case, cloud service provider nowadays they are offering that okay, whatever service you want to keep it with you, you can keep it. Remaining services we can migrate to the cloud, and at the same time AWS cloud will help you to provide the connectivity to your on premise servers. That means your application on premise and cloud can interact with each other. But that would be a little complicated, but that's possible. Finally, monopoly of service provider. That's very valid point, and I'm telling you from my project, I'm telling you the real example. We are facing that. Suppose a particular cloud, AWS cloud, is providing you one service, and other service provider, Google and Microsoft, suppose they are not offering that service at this point of time, and you started using that service from AWS, they will be charging to you. Suppose you are using 8 hours every day, they will be charging 8 hours. But after 2 months, AWS is increasing the price. What you will do? Now you are dependent on that tool, and the tool is too good. You can't miss it. You can't discontinue it. You have to use it. There is no option that you have to pay high charges. So we are using a service. I will not expose the service name, but we are using a service. And every 6 months, I would say sometime even before 6 months, they will send an email 1 month in advance that from this particular date, from 1st of July, 1st of January, the charges will be increasing from $20 to $25 per hour. But we don't have any choice until unless we are finding a new tool. And finding a new tool is okay, you can find it, but then you have to migrate your application, migrate your data to the new tool. That is again time consuming, again error prone. Lot of things are there, right? The point is, if you are giving your control to someone, if you are dependent upon someone, they may charge you more at any point of time, and you have to bear that additional cost. These are the few limitations, but compared to the benefits, I think limitations are very, very limited. And that's why companies are migrating to the cloud. Okay. So that's all about limitation of cloud computing. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will be moving to our last but not the least section, that is AWS Trial Account. Okay, seems like there is no doubt. So that was all about introduction to cloud computing. You must have noticed that I was not only talking about AWS, but I was talking about Google Cloud, Microsoft, and all those things. Those were not specific to AWS. Those are like general things about cloud. If I'm talking about like pay as you go or reliability of data, duplicate copy of data, they can help you with the disaster recovery. All these things are applicable to all the cloud. But this slide onwards, or I would say any upcoming discussion in upcoming week or whenever we will conduct live classes, every discussion will be about AWS. That's why the very first step is to set up your free trial account. The good part is AWS is providing you a free account for 1 year, and you can use many services, because until or unless you are not doing the hands-on, you will not understand anything. Because when I am doing something on my system, I am showing you through screen sharing, through live streaming, it will look very good to you. You will think it's very simple, it's very easy. But when you will try it on your account with your own hands, you will understand what are the challenges, how exactly it works. Then only you will gain the practical knowledge. And someone was asking in the beginning that can we search for AWS job without experience? And that time I said that experience is not there, that is still okay, but you should have some practical knowledge, not only theory. Not only that I watched some YouTube video, that will not help. Create your account and do something practically so that you understand. Because when I'm saying okay, do this, this will happen, try it out whether it's actually happening or not. Okay. So how to create AWS free trial account, that I will be explaining you now. Provide real time project works. So basically whatever I will explain during the class, because I will do something practically, right? That is the daily homework you have to try on your trial account. Coming to the project, maybe last day or last 2 days I will be talking about Python and some PySpark project. Then you will get more idea that how do we get the data, how do we write the code, how do we process the data, how do we generate the output. So this way I will provide the project. And whatever is my project experience, because we work on AWS day to day basis, and we come across some scenario, we come across some challenges, right? So those type of scenario I will keep on explaining during the class, so that you can get more idea on that. Okay. So there is a similar question from Siva Kumar as well. He's asking, sir, do you provide any real time project? So as I just said, right, in our 1 week of training, the last 2 days we'll be talking about that project. Any other question? If you have, just paste it on the chat. Okay, so there is another request from Ruturaj. Sir, are you going to upload this session on YouTube? We can see anytime. Yeah, I will do that. So today's session recording I will upload on the my channel, and I would request everyone who are there in the live class today, please subscribe to my channel if you have not done, because apart from these live classes, I will create small videos on a small topic, because sometime watching 1 hour of video can be boring, right? So what I will do is, what I'm planning is, I'm planning to create smaller videos like 7 to 10 minutes of video, and those video I will be uploading on my channel. So that's why I'm requesting everyone that if you have not subscribed to my channel till now, please subscribe to it. Let me paste my channel link on the chat so that you guys can. Just give me a moment, I'm just pasting the channel link. Okay, there is another question from Siva Kumar, like what is the duration of the course? So I will show you the course content and I will tell you about the duration as well. Okay, so daily timings, please. Okay, I will talk about daily timing also. What is the duration of the course? That is, I will talk about. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the AWS trial account creation, because I have to show you the course content and few more things as well. So what you can do is, you go to Google. I will show you how to do that. Go to Google and type AWS Trial Account. Okay, so the very first link, you can see that Amazon Web Services sign up for free today. So that is the link. You can click on that. So you can see this. Gain free hands-on experience with AWS platform, product and services. That you can do. And learn more about AWS Free Tier. Although you can directly go and click on create a free account, but before that, let me show you a few useful details. So you can click on learn more about free tier. So you can find few details here. Okay, so you can see that it is talking about what is AWS free tier. Free tier means they will provide you, you can, let me read this out. The AWS free tier provides customer the ability to explore and try out AWS services free of charge up to specified limit for each service. So when I say free account does not mean that it's unlimited free. No, it's not there. There is a limit on that, definitely. Otherwise, anyone will launch like 50 server with high configuration. Those will keep on running 24 by 7. That's not good, right? So they are providing you a free account, but the limit is It's quite good actually. It's more than sufficient for your learning. And 1 year is a good amount of time, right? For every service, you will find the limit, and you can. I'm providing the training every month, and still I'm using a trial account because their limit is quite high, and you should be able to do everything practically on your trial account without an issue. But at the same time, I will tell you few tricks. You should take care that it does not unnecessarily add some. Uh, I mean, it does not. It should not cross the free limit. I will explain how to avoid that. Okay. So you can see that this is free 12-month free tier. You can see this one. Okay. And if I go with other details like billing, if I don't use all of my free uses per month, will it roll over the next month? No. The AWS free tier is applied to your monthly uses. For example, one server you are launching, and they are saying that this server you can use for 700 hours. 700 hours. That means if you run one server 24 by 7 running for 1 month, it will be around 720 hours. Correct? And they are giving you the limit of 750 hours. That means you can keep one server, small server, running 24 by 7 entire month, and still it's not chargeable to you. But that's applicable to only one server. Suppose you are launching 5 server and you are running them like 20 hours a day, then it will definitely total number of hours for all the instances, all the servers, it will cross the limit of 750 hours, and that can be chargeable to you. That's why I was telling, although it's a free account, but still we should be very careful. We should create only those servers which we need for our practical purpose. Don't blindly create many servers. And at the same time, whenever your services are not in use, you should stop it. Okay. So there are few details displayed here, and now it's time to create the account. So sign up for a free account. If you want, you can watch this 10 minutes of tutorial, and I will click on this one. Sign up for a free AWS account. Okay. So for sign up, you would need two things. One thing is your email address, because that email address will be used to log in into your AWS trial account. And another thing you would need is your debit or credit card. You may be thinking that the training is free, right? So why do we need debit or credit card? For verification purpose, AWS will be charging only 2 rupees, only 2 Indian rupees, and even those 2 rupees will be refunded back after 1 or 2 days. I will show you. I will show you on the screenshot. If you look at this screenshot, it is mentioned on the left side, we will not charge the users below AWS free tier limits. We temporarily hold INR 2 as a pending transaction for 3-5 days to verify your identity. Okay. So ultimately, as this message explains, that they will be only charging 2 rupees and they will be refunded back within like next 3-4 days. So ultimately, nothing is chargeable to you. But again, because you have provided your credit card details here for verification, it's always uh, make sure that you are using the services within limit. And there are few things like you can set up the alerts. That means if you are approaching your limits, suppose you have consumed your 70% of free limit, at that point of time there will be a email, and that email will help you to understand that okay, you are approaching the limit. You haven't completed yet, but you are slowly approaching the limit, so that you can use it properly, use it as per your uses, not like blindly. Okay. So this way you can provide your email address, you have to provide your credit card information, and sometimes they take few hours to activate your service. When I created few months back, that time it was taking some 6 to 12 hours to activate the account. But last month, June, I created one more account, and my account got activated within 5 minutes. Okay, so as soon as you will create your account, your trial account should be ready either immediately or within few hours, and you should be good to go. Now, how to log in into the account and how the AWS trial account looks like, that I will show you live my trial account. But before that, if anyone is having any doubt till this point of time, you can ask me. Okay, so it seems like there is no doubt, so that's good. That means I can show you the my trial account. Okay, so this is my AWS console. I have already created a trial account. Last month I created for my last month batch, and now I will be logging into my trial account. You can see there are two options, right? One is root user and one is IAM user. Root user is like just like on our laptop we have the full admin privilege. We are the root user. That means we can do anything. You can delete your data from the drives, you can format your drive, you can upgrade your windows, anything you can do, right? So that is root user who have full control over your trial account. And then IAM user. Suppose in your team there are few developers, few testers, and you want those people to work on your trial account, but at the same time you will not give the full permission to them, right? Otherwise, they can launch any server, they can even see your billing details, what is the bills and everything. So there are two type of users. IAM user I will be explaining in a different class. Today I will be logging in as a root user. So I will be logging in now. For security purpose, what I have done is I have enabled multi-factor authentication. That means along with the password, I have to provide one code that is appearing on my mobile app. So just give me a moment. I am opening my mobile phone. 696946. Okay. This is for additional security. Just like nowadays, when you logging into Gmail, if you are logging from a different device, different laptop, new laptop, it will send some code to your mobile phone just for additional security. Same thing is here. Otherwise, if someone gets access to your username and password for AWS trial account, they can log in into your account and they can launch some 20 or 50 server and you are not aware. Ultimately, that can be chargeable to you, right? That's why we should make our AWS trial account very, very secure. Now you may be thinking how to add this additional security that I will be explaining in the next class. Because when you initially create your account, right, that time only email ID and password we set up. This multi-factor authentication, which is known as MFA, that is set up separately after your trial account is activated. So I will explain this later on how to do it. So let me quickly log in into my account. So I think we are going. It's already 1 hour. I still try to make it. I mean, we'll try to wrap it as soon as possible. In case you have guys have any plan for the Sunday. Okay. So I will go to my account. So this is AWS console as you can see here, and on the left side you can the very first thing you can see is services. Once you click on that, you will see what type of services are available in AWS. And as I was telling you, there are more than 100 or few hundred services out there. Okay, so you can see that on the left side there are analytical services, cloud search, data exchange, data pipeline, EMR. Similarly, if you go to application integration, you can find Apache Airflow, Event Bridge, App Flow, Simple Queue Service, Step Function. So there are many things. If you go to compute, you will find EC2. This one I was talking about. Virtual servers in the cloud. And there are many, you can say containers, database, developer tools, game development, Internet of Things, machine learning, many more. But as we discussed, right, we don't need to go through each and every service because there are a lot of services. We'll be going through few basic and the important services to get started on AWS. Okay. So this is one thing. Second thing is you can click on this search and you can search for any service. Suppose you want to work on EC2. EC2 is nothing but remote server. So search EC2 and you will find like this, virtual servers in the cloud. Similarly, suppose you want to use storage service, which is named as S3. S3 stands for simple storage solution. This service is you can use for storing your data. So for each and every use case, we have services available in the AWS, which we can search and which we can use. Okay. Now the important part is I was talking about the billing, right? That's very important thing. So you have to click on the right upper corner where your name is displayed, right? And then you can click on billing dashboard. If you will come down on the left side, there is a option billing preference, which you can click upon, and this will help you to set up some alerts. You can see on the right side, there is a alert preference. You can see this AWS free tier alerts delivered to the email address. That means at any point of time, if you are approaching your free tier limit, then it will send you the email, and accordingly you can have a look and stop using the services if in case it's going above the limit. Okay, so this is about billing preference, and you can see that there are many more things: cost explorer, budgets, saving plan. But these are not for ours, because mainly when companies are going with lot of server, they go with saving plans, because they can say that okay, I need 50 servers every month, can I get some discount? So accordingly AWS will provide them discount. But as far as our trial account is concerned, we should be good, because it is providing you like what are the different services available, and you can see here what are the free service available. So 30 GB of free 12 months as part of AWS free uses. Code commit 5.0 user. CloudWatch, simple storage, and many more services there. For every service, they are providing like what percentage I'm using of that free tier. And as you can notice, I'm using very limited one, right? Okay, so you can have a look. If I talk about service like code build, right? You can see that I'm using only 5% of this. And other services, simple storage solution, I was talking about S3, right? I am using only 18.35%. I'm still good. So as far as you are under your free tier limit, you can learn anything, you can practice anything, do your hands on properly. So I hope we are good. So in case you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, let me conduct some poll on the YouTube. We'll try to understand like what timing suits all of you. So give me a moment. So friends, I have just pasted, just started one uh, poll in the YouTube chat. You can just answer that. Did you find this training useful or not? And after that, I will start one more poll where we will ask about which timing will be suitable for you for the training. Okay, so one thing we missed is we have to talk about the course content, right? So I will show you the course content. So this is the course content for our 1 week of training program. This will be on weekdays, or you can say weekend, because it's complete 1 week. Today you can consider as a first class, because this first section, right, introduction to cloud computing and including creating a trial account and billing alerts and brief introduction to AWS services, right? So this first section we have done already today, and remaining 6 more days this training will go for. Okay, I'm pasting 2 more links in the chat so that you guys can go through the course content later on. Just note it down, this course content. I mean, note it down the links. Okay, so I started one poll, and I request everyone to please respond on that, because I will be starting another poll. Let me post another poll for timings so that we will go with the majority. So I am starting another poll. So there is a question from Yes Sharma. He's asking like, for a MCA student, which cloud is good, Azure or AWS? So cloud does not have to do anything with your education or with your like you have done MCA or BCA or BTech or MTech. For everyone, you can go with any cloud. It all depends upon, as I said, right? Most of the project, 80 to 90% of project you will find in AWS. In that case, I should say you should go with AWS. But again, this is not for MCA student. Anyone who is starting their career in cloud, you can opt for AWS. The reason being is, suppose you learn Microsoft Azure or you learn Google Cloud, and then later on you notice that every project, every interview, people are talking about AWS only, right? In that case, you may feel that you should have gone with AWS. Otherwise, concept wise, all cloud are like less or more same. Okay, so I will start one poll. So I have started a poll. Can you please respond to that? After that, I will start another poll for finding out the suitable timing. Okay, so I have got 18 votes and everyone is saying this training is useful. That's good. I will close this poll and I will be starting another poll, which will be for our regular class timing. So just give me a moment, and because I have three open slots as per my availability, because even I'm working professional in IT, right? So in daytime I'm occupied with my job. Only in morning and evening I can take these classes. So I'm just putting it. Just give me a moment. I'm putting three options. One option is 6 to 7 a.m. IST. Second option is 6 to 7 p.m. IST, and the third option is 8 to 9 p.m. IST. Okay, I'm putting all the options. Please vote, and accordingly we will be. Okay, I have started another poll. Please respond to that. So I'm getting majority of votes on the 8 to 9 p.m. IST. I think everyone is working in IT, and the free time is only in the night. Okay, I usually prefer morning time, but it's okay. It depends upon your convenience. Accordingly, we'll go with the majority. So I see most of the people are okay with 8 to 9 p.m. IST, and few people are 6 to 7 p.m. IST, and very few people are okay with 6 to 7 a.m. IST. Yeah, understand, because waking up early is difficult. Okay, so I have just closed the polls and I will check if there is any doubt. Prem is asking, is Python must for AWS? No, absolutely not. Python is a programming language. AWS is a cloud platform. If your project is in Python, that's a different thing. That means you should know Python. Otherwise, for learning AWS, Python is not required. And as part of our 1 week of free training program, The 5 days will be talking about AWS, and the last 2 days will be talking about Python, so that you can understand where Python fits into your project and how to use Python with your AWS services. Okay, I hope that answer your question, Prem. And Sandhya is asking about timing. So we have checked the like votes on different timings. Most of the people are okay with 8 to 9 p.m. IST. And now let me check if there is any other question. Okay. So I'm coming back to the course content. We were talking about the course content, right? So this first section we have already talked about today. And now we'll be talking, the next topics would be IAM. We were talking about IAM user, right? So IAM user, IAM groups, IAM roles we'll talk about. After that, we'll talk about storage, that is S3. And then we'll talk about EC2. We'll be launching our first server, how to connect your server, how to execute Linux commands, how to create EC2 instance alarms. Okay, we'll talk about Lambda. And it's not only talk about means we will do practically on our trial account. We will create Lambda function. We will create a test event. We will test our Lambda function. Then we will talk about databases, crawlers, Glue, Athena, Redshift, DynamoDB. There are few application services, CloudWatch, Secret Manager, SNS, SQS. Then we'll start with Python. So write your first Python code, data types, functions, for and while loop. And then we'll talk about PySpark. So introduction to PySpark, installation of PySpark on EC2 and Cloud9, creating a data frame, and few more things. So this training is completely free of cost. This training will be happening every day, 1 hour. Most probably we'll go with the 8 to 9 p.m. IST time, and this way we should be able to finish this training by next weekend. Okay. If you are interested to go with a detailed and in-depth training for many more services, I have one more training, but that's not free of cost, that's chargeable, and that is 6 weeks training program. I have already pasted the course content for 6 weeks training program as well, in case you want to go with that. Okay, so any question on timing, on detailed course content, you can ask me. So the good part of this training is there is no prerequisite. That means whether you know programming or not, whether you have any prior experience or not, whether you know Python or not, nothing is required. We'll be starting from very beginning. The first step we have already talked about today, that is creating your free trial account. Okay. So make sure that in case you are planning to be part of this free 1 week training, make sure that you create your trial account before tomorrow's class. So you have today's time, you have tomorrow's time as well, because we'll be taking the class most probably in the evening. So by that time, make sure that you have your AWS trial account ready. Okay. So any question from anyone? Otherwise, I am done from my side. Okay, I thank everyone for attending this live class. This one was my first live class, and I hope you find it useful. I hope you have at least got some idea about cloud computing and all. And I will upload this recording to my YouTube channel, so that at any point of time, if you want to go through it again, you can do that. Okay. So if you have still not have subscribed to my channel, I would say please subscribe, so that you don't miss any recording of live classes, as well as in case you want to go through my previous batch recordings, because I'm into training from last many years. Earlier I was providing training on big data, and nowadays I am providing the training on AWS. So that's why you can you can go for it. There is another question. Vishwaram is asking, what is the cost of 6 weeks course? So the cost for 6 weeks course is 10,000 rupees INR, and that you can pay in two installments. Like usually we take first installment after 3 days. You can attend the classes for 3 days for free. After that, you can pay half of the amount, that is 5K, and remaining 5K you can transfer once we complete like half of the training, usually after 3 weeks. So let me paste in the chat 6 weeks training. Okay, so I have pasted the detail on the chat. This will be a 6 weeks training program in case you want to go with the paid one. Why I have bring this free training is because I noticed that most of the people, I mean, almost you can say half of the people in this live training are like they are student, they are still studying. So for them, I have come up with this free 1 week of training program. At least you guys will get started, and you can still go through my uh, previous batches recording in case you want to explore more. But if you want more interactive training, right now, like you are asking your question in the chat, right? But in case you want to interact with me, you want to ask your question like on the audio, and at the same time, if you are facing an issue, we usually remote control your system and we look into that. In that case, you can go with the paid training. That will be 6 week training program. Okay. So any other question? Vishwaram was asking about the training details. So I have already pasted the link for 6 week training program as well. If you want, I can show you so that in case you want to just have a quick look. So this course content is for 6 week training. That is a paid training, and the topic will be like in more detail. You can say that EC2 is there, EC2 Advanced is there, and Lambda we will talk about our in our free training as well, right? So there will be more in-depth training. Will be like you can interact more easily on the. It will not be on YouTube because in YouTube only I'm speaking and you are listening. But this paid training will be on a different software where you can ask your question, and in case required, we can even look into your issue. Okay. Ruturaj is asking like when you are going to start paid sessions. So this week, the next week, I'm planning to conduct this free training. Most probably next week onwards. I mean, after 1 week, right? After next weekend, I will be starting the paid training. And in the meantime, in case you want to enjoy the free training, you are most welcome. Okay. So I have pasted both the links in the chat. Free 1 week training and paid 6 week training. You can go through it as per your interest, as per your convenience. Any other question from anyone, please ask. Okay, friends, I think there is no doubt. And I again thanks everyone for joining this training, and thanks for making it interactive. I think we got a lot of questions, we answered that, and at least we came to know about your preference about the timing. And I have said almost all the details, like the course content and timing would be most probably 8 to 9 p.m. ist. Coming to the point, like what would be the link, right? So either I can share the link every day on WhatsApp, but in case I miss to share that, right, you can come to my channel at any point of time and go to live section, and then you will find the link over there. You can, I mean, suppose the classes are from 8 to 9, then at 8 p.m. you go to my channel, go to the live section, and from there you can just open the link. Okay, otherwise I think if you have already subscribed to me, as soon as I will start a live session, you will anyway get the notification and you can join the live classes. Okay, thanks everyone for making it